A lot of people talking about eggs in Michigan. I love my eggs. Joining me now is Brandon from, is it Tomkinson Farms?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you're in the Upper Peninsula in Michigan near Sault Ste. Marie in that area?
Yep, Pickford Township, Sault Ste. Marie address. Yes, sir.
Okay, well, I posted something on TikTok and social media about how I went into Kroger locally, and we had the sign in the Kroger that Michigan law states that January 1st, retailers can only sell cage-free eggs, and their shelves were kind of empty because I guess they're trying to prepare for this change. For example, I guess I can ask you, you can answer this question. What is cage-free for people who don't know?
Cage free is a chicken that spends its life in a cage just laying eggs. That's basically it. So what they're doing is that they are taking the cage away and they are letting the hen technically run around the hen house without being encumbered by cages.
Gotcha. That doesn't. I mean, the big manufacturers, they could still have like 50,000 chickens roaming around.
Yes.
Okay. In this, well, I'll ask you because people are asking me. Does this mean that they are healthier? The eggs are better for you, or not really?
No, the eggs you are still getting. The chickens are still getting the same nutrients. They're not going outside unless they're pasture raised. They're still eating the same grain or chicken scratch like they normally would. The only difference is they're just taking the cages away, and the hens are able to roam about as they please.
Wow. Okay. Now, Tomkinson Farms, you have your own chickens?
Yes, sir. I got I'm usually between 40 and 30, depending on predator attacks and chickens that'll wander off and get attacked. Between 30 and 40 a year is what I usually typically keep.
How much do they turn out? I don't know. I ask stupid questions, but I don't know. How many eggs, how does that work? What do they produce?
Can you say that one more time? You kind of broke up there.
Yeah, what are how many eggs does a chicken produce? Does it just depend, I guess?
Oh yeah, so a chicken will produce, like different breeds will produce different colors, different sizes. So like mine will range pretty good. So I got some Americanos that'll lay blue eggs. I have some that'll just lay straight brown. I don't have any
Wow.
white egg layers, but the size is dependent upon the breed, and the amount is also dependent upon the breed. But what I say is like I typically get about 320 eggs a year from one bird. So I get a ton of eggs.
Wow. Okay. If you can still hear me, I know the internet connection's not great because you're in the UP. I'm down near Saginaw. This law that's going into place, is this I guess a good thing, bad thing? It depends where you live, who you are. It depends because a lot of people worry there could be a shortage of eggs. What's your take?
So I mean, technically, for the small time farmer like myself, like it's great. I mean, I'm not going to raise my prices. My prices will remain the same unless the amount of price for the food goes up. I keep my price stagnant. It does not go up. I don't take a profit from anything that I do with these birds. Everything that I get in from them goes back into the farm itself, goes back into more feed. That's the first thing, obviously. Goes into waters, food troughs, whatever. But for the small time farmer, it's great. For the consumer, probably not so much. I mean, if you live in Metro Detroit area, you don't have access to somebody like myself. You might not be getting good. You might not be getting good quality eggs. You might rely on the Meyer. You might rely on the Kroger. But for myself, as a small time farmer, it's great. So, yeah.
Are the big companies like where they get their eggs from? Are those places going to have to adjust then to do cage free, or I don't know how that's all going to work then? If Michigan will only sell, cage free, are the big farms going to have to adjust how they do things then? I wonder.
I lost the last part of that. I'm sorry. Can you repeat that?
Okay,
I'm
no,
sorry.
yeah, the big farms that sell to the Walmarts and the Meijer, are they going to have to change how they do things in order to give eggs to Michigan?
So an egg has 30 days to get from the farm that it's laid to the distributor, and then the distributor has 60 days to get it to the Walmart or the Meijer. So the way that they do things, I mean, I'm not really sure on that aspect how it works, but I mean, the nutritional value of an egg goes down the longer it sits on a shelf or sits in the distribution center. So
So you're saying so people like you or certain communities in Michigan, people are allowed to have chickens, they're allowed to have their own eggs. That's really honestly a great thing, and it's healthy and it saves money. That sounds like a good thing actually for people.
Yeah, it sounds great, but you gotta have access to it, right? So I mean, like I said, if you live in Ferndale, I don't know if you have access to fresh eggs, but I mean, where I am, I mean, I know a ton of people that have access to fresh eggs or have their own chickens for fresh eggs. So yes, I think it just really depends on where you're at in the state. And I understand why the state did it, because there's nothing better to have than to have a relationship with your birds, right? Like people might think chickens are dumb animals, which they're not the brightest, but they know who people are, right? They'll give, you got food, they'll come up to you. Like my chickens know me. If my rooster won't attack me, but he'll attack other people. Um,
Wow.
and that's because he knows that I'm there to give him food. I'm not there to hurt his hens, things like that. But I mean, I understand why the state did it. I mean, I don't know. They must have a lot of smart people working down Lansing that
Yeah.
are smarter than I am. I don't know. So
A lot of people aren't happy about it, but I think a lot of people are saying they're going to look into, getting their own chickens and so forth. Are you seeing that growing? Are more people doing their own farming, getting their own food?
yeah, I mean, especially up here. I mean, I'm part of a group on a social media platform that just about backyard. We just talk about backyard chickens. That's it. And somebody was from Reed City, and I hate to throw Reed City into the bus, but they have an ordinance that they can't have hens, and so this person has to get rid of their hens. But
Wow.
somebody on the comments said, "Oh, I live in Ferndale, and I can have 4 chickens," and it's like, okay, well, how Reed City versus Ferndale? I mean, I think about that, and I'm like that's pretty wild. And I know, like, in the city of Sault Ste. Marie, like, you can't have chickens at all, but in certain areas of this town you can, depending on how many people there are and things like that. But I also see a lot of people that are moving up to the Upper Peninsula just to get away from the Lower Peninsula life, and they're like, oh, we want to get chickens, we want to do this, we want to do that. But then on the flip side of it, they're like, once they see all of it on social media, and they see how it's all nice, and it's just a nice way of living. But then when something catastrophic happens, they're like, okay, we don't want to do this anymore. We're going to go back downstate. And I know
Yeah.
people that have moved up here for a period of time and then left as well, because they're like, well, that life isn't for us. The winters are too harsh, whatever. So I mean, I get that. But
Wow. But it's safe to say, for example, a lot of people want to be healthier, but your local farmer, your local butcher, it seems like that is. Do you see more people wanting healthier food? Because this country has a problem with obesity and processed foods. It seems like more people are going towards local, farmers, which I think that's a good thing.
I heard about every third word there. But I'm going to give this a shot. Yeah. So, the way the food industry is set up is like what is it, like 90%. There's 6 companies that own 90% of the meat in America. It's pretty wild. I mean, there's a lot of red tape behind poultry processing, and especially like beef processing and things like that. But poultry processing, it's very, very hard to break into. It's a very hard it's a very hard industry to get into, because there's just so much behind it. So
Yeah. Okay. Well, I wanted an expert to talk to, and that's what you are about. Your chicken. So I really appreciate it. So yeah, any advice to anyone who wants to start having their own chickens and their city allows it? What should people do? What's their first step if they want to do this?
the first step is to get all your stuff, like your coop, your food, your water, your logistics, right? So if you live in an area where the water is going to freeze, get a waterer to keep the water warm. Just worry about the logistics before you even get chickens, because I see a lot of people get chickens because they think it's going to be super easy, and chickens are really easy as long as you're logistically covered. Like, how am I going to keep the water from freezing? how am I going to feed these things? Because like I'm on a feeding schedule where I feed 2 times a day, and if I'm not able to do it, I'm lucky enough to have somebody about a mile down the road that will come up and feed my hens. So it's pretty, you know, the logistics of it. Get your logistical stuff down. Get your logistics down first, and then worry about the hens later. Hens will always be around. Like, you know, you need a dry coop, you need water, you need food. Get the logistics down first.
Gotcha. Okay, I appreciate it. Good luck. Stay warm up there. Do you have a lot of snow on the ground now?
Yeah, it's raining right now, so we've lost probably about, I don't know, maybe about 1.5 feet because of the rain. But it's supposed to get really cold by the end of the week.
Okay, I appreciate it. I'll send you a link to this. Thank you very much.